Hi friend, welcome back to the channel where we focus less on trying and more on being the best version of ourselves. In today's video, we're doing something a little different. We're gonna do a chit chat, get ready with me, and we're gonna talk about confidence, self-concept, my journey through just the craziness that is life and loving yourself. So stay tuned to hear me ramble on and on and on about that and to see kind of my everyday makeup look. It's nothing crazy, it's nothing fancy, but I thought that we'd just sit down and have this little chat together and that'd be something different and fun for us to do together. So yeah, before we get started, I want to thank Ana Luisa for partnering with me on this video. Ana Luisa creates long-lasting, affordable jewelry that is tarnish resistant, good for people with sensitive skin. It's so affordable and they have so many different styles. I'm personally a silver girly, but so many options for my gold girly friends. I know that that's the majority. I am in the minority on this one, but that's fine, I'll take it. Still, they have so many amazing options for me to choose from, and I'm so excited to show you guys the pieces that I've got. All their jewelry comes in this amazing packaging, just such good quality. Feels so high-end even though it's so affordable. And the best thing for me is that they offset 100% of their carbon emissions. So they are completely carbon neutral and climate neutral certified. So we love that. We love taking care of the planet. So honestly, really, I commend them for their dedication to making sure that what they're doing is not only offering affordable and long-lasting, good quality pieces, but making sure that they're doing that in a way that is sustainable. So these are the ones that I chose today. But I also have these nice little chunky silver hoops. And I thought that these were also like so insane. They're so cute. So amazing jewelry, affordable, fast, free US shipping. Literally, what more could you ask for? So if you take a peek in the description box, there's a link to their site. And if you choose to purchase from them, you can use my code MOREBEING20 and get 20% off your purchase. So thank you again to Ana Luisa for partnering with me on this video. And let's hop right in to the tutorial. It's not a tutorial. The chit chat, get ready with me. This is definitely not a tutorial. Listen, this is honestly very unhinged and chaotic behavior from me, which is not something that any of us are surprised to see. Okay, so enjoy. All right, so here I am in all my barefaced glory. I feel like in this video more than others, I'm going to be looking at myself because I'm getting ready, and I have a mirror down here and back here. This is like where I get ready. So I see myself in a lot of different places. So if I'm not looking directly at you, I apologize, but I'm excited. This is actually like, it feels like a throwback because you surely don't know this, but before I had this YouTube channel, I had another YouTube channel where I did makeup tutorials. Yeah, that was an era. So I actually used to do makeup as like a side gig. Like I did freelance makeup, like for prom, for homecoming, for people's like birthday pictures and things like that. I did people's makeup and just like whenever people wanted me to do their makeup. So I used to do that, and people would ask me at school all the time, they're like, oh my God, you should start a YouTube channel and teach people how to do their makeup. And I was like, little old me. And that was like a big thing of me to even like get on YouTube barefaced in order to do the makeup tutorial. So I was like, oh my God, people are gonna have to see me like in the process. And like, imagine 2016 cake face era of people like really laying it on thick. Like the transition from barefaced to just full on cut crease, Instagram brow, like it was just a lot. It was definitely a lot, but I did that at one point. So this definitely feels like a full circle moment. I wanna chat a little bit about confidence and just like my journey with self-concept and insecurities and like just growing up being like not a person that loved myself very much. Literally not at all. Actually, I've talked quite a bit about this in my mirror work video I have. So it's been a time. It's definitely been a time for me growing up. I felt so bad for myself. I was in such a victim mentality. It was just so hard for me to love myself. I just didn't really know how to do it, didn't really have examples of people who I could look to guide me in that respect. And even if I did, I just wasn't in a place where I was able to be receptive to that kind of stuff, you know? I just kind of felt the way I did and felt like it was always gonna feel like that, and that people were always gonna feel the way about me that I felt about myself. And so, of course, as we know, my reality had no choice but to show me that that was the truth. I do go into that, like, that space of thinking about my inner child, and it's just like, it does kind of, it makes me sad, because I was not gentle with myself at all. And I think that's a lot of people's biggest problem, is that they're just not gentle enough with themselves. And it's hard to be sometimes, or it definitely feels hard to be in the world that we live in, with people just comparing themselves to everyone else. And now in like social media age, like, you see the top of the pinnacle, like you see the top of the hill, you see people like with all the things you want in life, looking the way that you think you want to look, and like, you're like, why can't I look like that? Why can't I have that? Why can't I be like that? And just like trying to be this quote unquote best version of yourself, but taking that image and that picture of yourself from other people. It's just such a comparison game. Social media is just hard. And I do social media now because of the newfound purpose I found in it, which is sharing this message and sharing my experience with the law and manifestation, because it's made my life literally, like, I'm a completely different person. I live a completely different life because of what I've learned and what I've experienced. And I feel like it is my mission and it's my calling to share this with people. And it's what I love to do, and it brings me so much joy to see how much literally just the things that I've gone through can transform other people's lives, and to know that what I was going through when I was going through that really, really, like, beyond words, tough time in my life has given people so much joy. I guess what I'm trying to say is that I've been able to transmute those experiences into something beautiful, instead of allowing myself to stay in that place of being a victim and a product of my environment. But I think that's my biggest gripe with social media, because obviously this is our little safe, cozy corner of the internet, but the whole internet is not like this. I mean, venture out far enough and, seek and you shall find. There's definitely some dark corners, and it's not even just that. It's just the ways that we feed ourselves, and the algorithms and influencer culture, and people thinking that they need things that they don't actually need, and comparing themselves to people. And it's just really tough to have such access to information and to be using it in a way that is actually a detriment to you instead of doing you a service, which is why, I do this and I make myself present on YouTube, like I said, because I have a purpose to it. But other social media, like, I link my social media in the description, but as you probably noticed, I really don't post anything on like Instagram. I used to post a lot on TikTok because I thought, like, this is just what I have to do if I'm gonna spread my message. Like, the quickest way to do it is obviously gonna be on TikTok. Everybody's on TikTok. That's where people are gonna find me, and this is pretty much the only way that I'm gonna blow up, which is like, now I have really not very much interest at all in blowing up, just in finding the people who resonate with me and share the same ideologies or the same interest, and to help them along their journey so that they don't have to go through some of the same pitfalls that I did when I was learning. But yeah, as you can see now, my social media is pretty much a wasteland because I'm never on it. Like, I promise 95% of the time, I don't even have any other social media app loaded onto my phone other than YouTube. You will rarely catch me just scrolling on social media, like, out of fun. Like, it's just not my idea of a good time. But even saying that, now I'm in a place in my life where it just, like, I'm not affected in the same way. Like, even if I were to, or even when I do, it doesn't bring up those same icky feelings. You know the yucky social media but it's just not the same to me anymore, because I just view so much of life differently. I'm like, and it sounds so cheesy, and when you're in that space of being so consumed with social media, and people are telling you, get off social media, like, there's air to breathe outside, go touch grass, you're like, okay, shut the fuck up. Like, you're so holier than thou, like you don't have social media, or like you're never on fucking TikTok, like, shut up. But it's like, okay, but there really is. There are books to read and like even shows to watch that are more engaging and like, I mean, go see your family, go for a walk in the park, go listen to some good music. But that's also the thing. It's like I've also found so many new like people and made connections and other like forms of entertainment and art and things like that on social media. Let me tell you something right now. It is so hard for me to talk to you and do my brows. This is like such an act of love. You don't even know. It's so hard for me to multitask, but I'm doing it anyway. But it's just, I don't have the same desire anymore to interact in that way on social media. And I might, in the near future, I've been thinking about making myself more present on there just for you guys and just so we can stay more connected and such. But it's, to be extremely honest, not my biggest priority at this point. People are like, oh, brand awareness and this and that. And it's like, I mean, wherever I want to be and whatever I want to do is perfectly fine. And I will be and have and do whatever I want, doing whatever I want. I know that. So it's that I don't feel any obligation to be anywhere that I don't want to be. So social media can be extremely toxic and can really mess up your self-concept and your image of yourself. I think that's just something to not necessarily be wary of, because like I said, there are amazing upsides to social media and it's literally transformed the way we live. But I think just being aware and, you know, monitoring like, okay, why am I following this person? Like when I scroll on this account, like, is it out of jealousy? Like, am I hate watching? Is it envy? Like, am I thinking about how shitty my life is in comparison to this person? Like, why? What's the reason? Like, and is that productive? I think the fuck not. Most of the time, it's really not. So that was a big thing for me. Just, I would be down the social media rabbit hole, just being in spaces that I didn't really need to be in, that just weren't serving my highest good. So I decided to take a big fat step back from social media, and that really started to change just off rip a lot of the ways that I felt about myself. And I was like, I have like my own real life to live. Like, I don't have to seek validation by like who watched my Instagram stories or how many likes this post got, or like, is it actually okay that I posted this because I have people that follow me from high school or old coworkers or like all this stuff. It's like, who cares? I just want to do what I want to do and not have to worry about what kind of eyes are on me, or like if somebody else is going to be okay with what I'm doing or what I'm doing looks like in comparison to what other people are doing. It's just such a silly game to play, and once you get into it, I feel like it's not the easiest to get yourself out of. So I choose to disengage with social media, and I think that's been a really important part of my journey with self-confidence. So after I got past that stage of being like, okay, I know this isn't helping me, but also not a lot of other things are either, and I actually still really don't feel good about myself, and I don't really know what to do about it. I went back to my love of books, because as a kid, that's literally what I loved to do. I was the kid who had literally maxed out the amount of library books that could be checked out and was returning them suckers late. Probably some that I smuggled and kept to this day. Don't steal. Eventually I found my way to Maxwell Maltz, and I read Psycho-Cybernetics. And I started to realize that, wow, the things that I'm feeding my brain are not good. And I didn't really know what to do about that because I'd been doing it for so long. It was just the way that my brain operated. And what I didn't understand at that time that I do now more so is that it's a habit. Our thoughts are habits, right? If you have a habit of waking up in the morning and telling yourself you're ugly, or telling yourself that, oh, nobody's ever gonna love me because my nose is so big, nobody's ever gonna love me because I don't look like this Victoria's Secret model. First of all, they're fallacies that were built in your mind and then propagated by you. And then you continued to feed these ideas. You planted the seed and then continued to feed the seed and to grow the seed and then harvest the seed by the things that are shown to you. Cis match, black girl problems. I have to mix my foundation. I'm sure the girls that get it. How are we feeling about that? It's decent. Our thoughts are habits. They're habitual. And if you're constantly feeding yourself a story that you hate yourself, or that you're not pretty, or that you're not lovable, all these things, eventually will come back and make themselves manifested, make themselves known to you. So maybe we should not do that anymore. Maybe I should start thinking different thoughts about myself and about everybody else. And at first, this felt like a lie. It felt like an outright lie. I was like, actually, I am so ugly. Actually, I don't feel pretty. I don't feel loved. I don't feel like my world is taking care of me. I don't feel like any of the things that I'm telling myself. I made a list of affirmations about myself and I called it Psychocybernetic Reset. And I wrote it down and I remember having it pinned up on the board in my dorm. And I would just wake up in the morning and I would read it and I would tell it to myself and I would meditate on it and I would read it, tell it to myself and meditate on it. And things went on like that for a while. And it wasn't a fast process. It's not always a fast process to break habits that you've had for years and years and years, ways of thinking to yourself and inner conversations that you've had on repeat for literally thousands of days of your life. Like, it wasn't a small undertaking for me. My mind was literally a war zone, okay? It wasn't pretty. And the only thing that kept me going was understanding that my thoughts were creating my reality. I could see retroactively how what had happened. And even though I didn't necessarily like it and I didn't necessarily want to take responsibility, I still wanted to blame my circumstances and other people in my reality for making me feel this way or for why I was the way I was. Even though all of that was true for me at the time, I understood that it couldn't be true for me anymore if I wanted things to change. You love the lovely friend we have here. I was like, oh my God, of course, like literally, and I wondered also if this was another manifestation. I told you, tangents. I wondered also if this was another manifestation of me being like, it's not okay for me to show up without makeup. Because I've talked about me having a belief that people treated me differently if I wasn't wearing makeup. And I knew I was gonna film this video and I was like, oh, of course, when I'm filming this video, like my skin starts breaking out because I have manifested my skin to be so much better than what it used to be. Like I had also a belief that when summertime came around, I would get this crazy acne called malassezia folliculitis. Yeah. It's like the little tiny bumps all over your forehead and it would get really, really, really bad. And I manifested that away and I manifested myself to have like smooth skin. That was work. So I was like, why of all times now would I decide to get a giant pimple right here? Actually, first it started with this one and I was like, you're funny. You're very funny. Go away. So now like this is like, you don't even know, major improvement from what it was. And I was like, it's okay. This is my side anyways. I'm gonna be like on this side. And then this one popped up as a like little, are you really gonna go on camera when you have 2 pimples on your face? And I'm like, yeah, why not? Like who cares? So anyway, back to what I was talking about before. And also, I'm not gonna claim that my makeup is gonna be the best today because I'm distracted and I just don't care now about makeup in the way that I used to, because it used to be this thing of like, it is my armor, it is my protection. I cannot go anywhere without this. And if I don't have it, I won't be seen, I won't be perceived. And that's crazy to like not live your life, to live your life in those kind of constraints. So yeah. 'Twas tough in the beginning, for sure. Definitely felt like I was lying to myself, but I knew that I had to break the habit of the way that I was thinking and the thought loops that I was entertaining if I were going to manifest a different experience for myself. And also in this point in time, I was very much in the, I need to be so high vibrational, I need to be thinking only good thoughts, only positive thoughts about myself, and I need to be feeding myself so much love, which in retrospect was also exactly what was needed at that time, because I was like making up for lost time for all of like the horrible shit that I said to myself, and like just the way that I treated myself was so bad. I needed that. But once I started to build the habit of speaking better to myself, speaking better about myself, even if it didn't feel like the truth in the beginning, I started to see more of what I was saying to be true. You know, I started realizing it's like, even if I don't necessarily like completely the way that I look today, I am like still so valuable inherently, just like as a person. Like wow, Aisha, do you know that you have inherent value outside of the way that your body looks or your face looks or like the way that people perceive you? Because you're intelligent, you're kind, you're loving, like you have so many other redeeming qualities outside of the way you look. Like you are so talented, you are so creative, you have so many skills, you have such a thirst for knowledge, and you're so personable and genuine. And I just actually started to think about myself as like more than my body. And that's also something that came with me going on my spiritual journey. I understand that we're here having a human experience in a meat suit, but it's like, I know now that I'm more than this body. And I understood it on a level that was mind-boggling at the time, but now my knowledge and understanding of that has grown even to far surpass that. I just don't know any other way of explaining it than by the grace of God. By the grace of me realizing that even when I was at the point of like, I'm connected to God or I'm connected to Source or like we are all one, it was like, I'm bigger than this body. Like, I'm like so powerful. Like, I have way more spiritual depth. It just went so much deeper than I ever could have imagined. And once I started to see things from that perspective, and also with the stepping back from social media and like the way that I was starting to habitually change my thoughts to think differently, I just started to value things differently over my appearance. While I was becoming more and more okay with the way I looked, I also started to value myself inherently, just as a human being, as a spiritual being, as a person, just a being in general having an experience. And I also started to see myself, you know, through the eyes of other people. It's like, I'm a daughter, I'm a sister, I'm a friend, I'm a girlfriend. Like, my mom doesn't look at me and say, well, she used to at some point look at me and be like, Shay, really? All that makeup? It's not because it doesn't look good, it's because you don't need it. And I was like, yeah, Mom, shut the fuck up while I put on about 30 more pounds of concealer. And still, this is kind of a lot. I'm being a little heavy-handed today because, again, I'm not paying attention to what I'm doing, but it's just, it is what it is. And sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. It just like is what it is. But I started to see myself through the perspective of other people, through like the people that like, even when I made other people smile or given other people a compliment or told somebody something that really made their day, and I'm like, that's beautiful. It's beautiful that I'm kind. It's beautiful that I'm generous. It's beautiful that other people love me. And if other people love me, maybe I'm allowed to love myself, you know? And it starts that way, but it really is an inner thing. When you give that to yourself internally, then it really starts to outpicture. Then you really start to see it more and more. You start to see more evidence of the things that you're telling yourself are true, because your reality has no choice but to show you that evidence with a constant repetition and the reminders to yourself that of course you are worthy, of course you are valuable, just because you are, just because you're being, because you're breathing, because you're existing, just because you're consciousness, because you are a divine spark of literally God. That's more than enough to make you absolutely fucking divine and absolutely beautiful. So why would I question myself? Like, would I say that God is ugly? Would I say that God like needs to put on makeup before they go to the grocery store to get tampons? Like what is this? So I really started to understand that yes, it's about the way that you talk to yourself, and that also confidence comes from within. Because we all know somebody, or I'm sure some of the girls get it. We've had an experience of like having a crush on a guy and being like, listen, I don't even, in hindsight, like, I don't know why I had a crush on that man. He was actually not that cute, but like, what drew you in? It was the personality. It was like the vibe that they were giving off, like of being confident, of being in that knowing of, yeah, of course I'm the shit, or I can have this girl. Yeah, like I can present myself this way, because why wouldn't I? Like, who's to say that there's something wrong with the way I look, or who's to say that there's something wrong with the way that I'm acting, or the way that I'm being, or the way that I present myself? Literally, I get to choose that. So when somebody is authentic and when somebody is secure in that knowledge of being themselves, and they're okay with that, and they're okay to let other people see that, that's attractive, that's confident, that's like way more attractive than somebody who may look good externally, but then you speak to them or you see the way that they interact with other people and you're like, wow, that person's really pretty, but that is so unattractive that somebody could treat somebody that way. Or like, it's so unattractive that even though that person is so physically attractive, they don't take care of themselves. Like, they're constantly like drinking to the point of being belligerent or like blackout, or like they don't care about the trajectory of their life, or like the way that they treat other people, or the way that they treat themselves, or like they just don't care about anything, and that's not attractive. So beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and beauty is always stemming from within. If you believe yourself to be somebody that's confident, somebody that's worthy, somebody that's valuable, somebody that deserves to be loved and cared for and catered to and appreciated, then that's what will be shown to you. If that's just the story that you accept for yourself, then that's what you'll see. But no matter what you look like on the outside, if you see yourself as a person who's not worthy, who's not valuable, has never been and never will be enough, then that's the story that will be shown to you. So we're gonna take a brief intermission because I'm getting very hot and I need to turn on the AC. So I'm sorry if that bothers you, but I'm literally like sweating, and I would prefer that my makeup didn't melt off until the video's done. So I'll be right back. Okay, hello, we're back. And now my concealer is creased, so we're gonna fix that. So it's been a journey. I could go even more in depth about the trials and tribulations of like fixing my self-concept and how I thought it was way harder than it needed to be. But if you know anything about the way that I speak about self-concept and self-image now, you know that yes, of course, it's important to love yourself and tell yourself you're beautiful, and you know, shift the way that your inner conversations are in regards to how you feel about yourself externally, because of course you want to walk throughout life feeling confident and feeling like if somebody compliments me, of course I can take a compliment. I can say thank you and not, oh no, like oh, this whole thing, like it's actually just not cute. It's actually genuinely just not cute to not love yourself. Can we start there? Like, even somebody said to me today, like, somebody was wearing a really nice outfit and somebody complimented them and they were like, I'm just packing it, I just keep going. And I don't know why, because like I'm still like barely, I'm not even halfway through. And I just like, anyway, somebody complimented what she was wearing and said, oh my gosh, you look so pretty. You look like you should be doing a photo shoot like in a field of daisies. And she said, I would be doing that if I loved myself. Or like, I would be if I didn't hate myself or something like that. And I was like, I literally just like couldn't say anything because I was like, whoa. And I thought, I was just sitting there thinking about it, and I was like, an older version of me would have been like, period, like, and just like wouldn't have thought about it for 2 seconds. Because I think that's also another thing about social media. It's like, we've created this culture of like it being okay to tell self-deprecating jokes and like to hate yourself. For some reason now, hating yourself is what's cool to do. It's not. Like, it's not cute. It actually is really sad, and it's really unnecessary, and it leaks into other areas of your life. Like, if you think that it's not affecting you, if you think the way that you think about yourself is not affecting you in all areas of your life, literally in everything you do, your self-concept is literally what creates your entire reality. So if you don't love yourself, if you don't think you're valuable, if you don't think you're worthy, when it's time for you to go and pursue something that you really want to do or something that you really want, do you really think that those kind of inner conversations of self-doubt and self-sabotage and all these other things are not gonna negatively affect you? It's like, it's just not a productive thing to do. So back to like when I was talking about how when I started on this journey and I learned about affirmations and started saying them, it felt untrue. But it's like, ultimately now I know that of course it was the truth. It's always been the truth, and it is the truth for everyone. So why, knowing that my inner conversations, my concept of myself, my belief systems create my entire reality, why would I spend another second telling myself that I'm unlovable, or that I'm ugly, or that I'm not valuable because of the way I look or the way I dress or the way I act, like, and catering to other people? It's such an unfulfilling way to go about being alive, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. Like, maybe we should just not hate ourselves. Maybe it's okay to be comfortable in your own skin. Like, maybe that's an all right thing to do. Like, what? I don't know how the conversation ever got so astray to lead people to think that like it was a cool thing to joke about, like even like wanting to not be alive, or like how ugly you are, or like how much you're a piece of trash, or like oh, I'm trash, like don't compliment, oh, I don't look good today, I'm trash, oh, this whole thing. Like, it's just, it doesn't do it for me. It really doesn't. Back to my newer found understanding of self-concept. Of course, you need to understand that as a human being, no matter what you look like, first of all, it's okay. You're beautiful. Like, there's nowhere written in stone that you need to look like this in order to be valued, or in order to be loved, or for other people to accept you. Beauty standards change all the time depending on what's in trend, what's like on brand, or whatever. Like, beauty is so subjective, and it's different for different people all around the world in different time periods. So nobody else should be your measuring stick. It should always just be me and me. Like, do I feel like the best version of myself? Do I feel like I'm the most fulfilled that I could be? Do I feel like I'm feeding myself loving thoughts and positivity in a way that feels authentic to me, and that feels good to me, and that is conducive to like what I want to do with my life and who I want to be? But it's also that understanding that like you're pure source. Like, you actually are the infinite, you are the all, you are consciousness, you are all that is and all that ever will be. And that in itself is immaculate. That's perfect. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. Literally being all there is. There's nothing about that that's imperfect. There's nothing about God that's imperfect, no matter what it looks like, no matter what somebody else says. Like, do you think if somebody were to walk up to Beyonce and be like, "Ew, Beyonce, I don't like you because your eyes are too far apart and your wig's on crooked," you think Beyonce is gonna look at them and be like, "Oh my God, like, what am I gonna do? Maybe I should just go hide in a hole for the rest of my life." She's gonna be like, excuse me, she's gonna laugh in their face. She's gonna be like, "I'm fucking Beyonce." So that awareness of being gives you everything that you've ever needed and more. Just understanding that, like, first of all, this is a game. This is a fun little experience that we're having. And I'm so lucky to have this avatar that's healthy, that's functioning properly, that's like able to get me from point A to point B and allows me to do the things that I want to do with my life. And I have the capability and the awareness of possibilities to take myself to different places, and I can do whatever I want because of this body. Like, this is my vessel, this is my temple. We should be loving on that. Nobody's idea of what's enough or what's good or what's pretty or what makes you any label that anybody wants to put on anything, none of that should affect you. It's like, okay, that's your conception, that's your opinion, but that doesn't change how I feel about myself. That doesn't change who I am. That doesn't change my identity. My self-concept is my self-concept because I choose it, because I choose to be it, because I've come into the awareness that I am the all, I am source, and I have the free will to choose. So I choose to tell myself a positive story because I know that everything within me is reflecting outside of me. So why would I feed myself anything different? Why would I focus on negativity in that regard when it comes to myself? I wouldn't, because that's stupid. I just want you to know that, ooh, a little heavy-handed there. I just want you to know that if you're in that place where you're like, this feels like a lie, this doesn't feel like it's true, I've never been able to think these things about myself, and I've never felt this to be true about myself. Just because you've had that experience and it doesn't feel natural for you now doesn't mean that it won't, because I've been in that place. I know from personal experience how bad it can get. Seriously, like, pretty much as bad as it could get, it got. And today I can confidently say that I'm on the other side of it, and I love myself, and I think I'm fucking amazing, and I know I'm fucking amazing, and that I'm beautiful, and that I'm worthy, and that I'm valuable, and that inner knowing within me radiates outside of me, and everything in my reality reflects back that story to me, and people can tell me that I'm beautiful, and people can tell me what they see in me, and I can accept that because I've already accepted it within myself. So it wouldn't be reflecting to me if I hadn't already accepted it within myself, and I didn't already know that to be my truth. And looking back at an old version of me, of a past version of me, if I would have told myself today that I would think these thoughts about myself, or that I would even still be here to think these thoughts about myself, I would have told myself I was a damn liar. Period. Like, just wouldn't have believed myself. And that, again, is like sad to think about, but also so amazing, because it's like, if I could do it, you could do it. And even if there is something that you want to change about yourself, or something that you feel like could be better, could be worked on, or you're manifesting a physical appearance change, like, that's also okay. Like, it's okay to want to switch it up. It's okay to think that, like, I love myself as I am now, but also I could be better. And I can continue to get better, and that's okay. It doesn't mean I don't love myself in my current version. It just means that I can have more. I want you to know that that's so possible for you. And it doesn't have to be hard, and you don't have to go through the whole long healing journey and shadow work of being like, oh, why am I this way? Or who taught me to be this way? Or what experience did I have when I was a child that made me this way? It's like, I don't know, a lot, obviously, for it to get to this level, but I don't really have to go back through all of that. I can just choose a new version of myself who has a different set of learned experiences, who even had a different upbringing, a different conception of themselves always, who's always felt confident, who's always felt empowered, who's always felt embodied as being this highest version of themselves. Like, that's an okay thing for me to do. I'm the one who gets to give myself permission to do that. And the repetition of telling yourself these things and looking for more ways to love yourself and asking your reality to make it apparent to you that you are loved and that you are cared for, and that it's okay to be exactly who you are, and it's okay to want something different, and it's okay to have something different. All of these things have to be first accepted by you. And in order to accept them, you have to have the desire, and then you have to start feeding yourself this information. You have to start making this into your story, and you have to become faithful to that story of yourself in order for the new version of you to emerge. I gotta go turn the air off because it's making my eyes water. So when you make the decision to change your identity, when you make the decision to become a new version of yourself, that's something that's no longer up for debate. Once you choose the new story, it's not, I'm gonna tell myself these things when I feel confident, or when I have makeup on, or when somebody else affirms that to me, or validates me in that, or tells me that it's okay to be this person, or it's okay to do this or do that. It has to become who you are. It has to just be. That has to be who you are. You make a decision that this is the new version of you, and then you remain faithful to it. You have a level of conviction that says, okay, whether or not I believe this to be true right now, I will. Through continued repetition, through continuing to return to that knowing that I already am. The other story and the other version of you becomes no longer acceptable. So you just remind yourself when you're thinking that, oh, I'm still this way, or even I still look this way, or I still think this way about myself, you have to catch yourself, and you have to remind yourself, that's not me anymore. That was an old version of me, or that's a different possibility. That's somebody who I could be, or who I could have been, but I don't choose that for myself anymore. And even if you don't see it to be true, continue to tell yourself that. And if it feels like a lie, you know it's not a lie, because you know that your thoughts are creating your reality. So if you can conceive of yourself as that being true for you, then it already is true. If you can desire it, then it's already yours. Give me a moment while I apply my lashes. So you really do have to take inventory. You have to take inventory of the way you've been living your life, and the things and the experiences that have been happening, and you have to say, okay, is this something that's acceptable? Am I willing to experience this again and again? Am I willing to call this my life? And if the answer is no, then you have to understand that everything that you see, everything that you experience comes from within. It had an original source cause within you. And everything that you tell yourself is good, and that it's okay, and that's acceptable, and that's true, that's what it will be. So if you no longer see this as true for yourself, if you no longer see this as acceptable, then you have to maintain your focus. You have to be determined. You have to be stubborn enough to know that you're worthy of having this experience, and you will, because you're gonna persist. You're gonna keep telling yourself the story until it's true for you, until you really believe that it's true for you, until it becomes natural. But there's no like, it's been this long and I haven't seen any results, so I'm gonna give up. Or like, today I don't feel like the best version of myself, so I'll never be the best version of myself. Or today somebody in my reality told me this, and so now I feel like this. Your only validation comes from within you. It's only what you think. It's only what you say. It's only what you consent to as being true. That is what it takes to change your self-concept. You have to understand that you're the only one who can approve or disapprove of whatever you're thinking, saying, or being. So taking that into account and understanding that your current thoughts are literally programming your future, why would you not start to tell the positive story? Why would you not start to love on yourself and know that you literally are pure love? You literally are pure consciousness. So if God loves you and sees you as perfect because you are God and God lives in you as you, then how dare you smite his creation? How dare you say that you're not enough? How dare you say that there's something more that you should be because somebody else said that you should? It's like, I get the final say. I get the first and the final say, and I get all the says in between. It really is that level of, I'm sick of living like this. I'm sick of seeing myself like this. I'm sick of seeing other people project this to me in my reality, and it's not a fun way to live, and I don't like this anymore, so I'm gonna change it. And I'm telling you that the way to change it is by telling yourself a different story. It's by changing your conception of yourself. It's by understanding that you are powerful beyond words and that you're capable of doing absolutely anything you want to do. So take that knowledge, take that understanding, and genuinely apply it. Look at yourself in the mirror and say, you're so gorgeous. I love you literally just because you exist. You're my favorite person on the planet. I couldn't imagine a better vessel to live this experience in. You just keep affirming to yourself that you are now that which you once wanted to be. Once it goes from being a desire to just being, just that's who you are, that's what you identify as. You identify as somebody who's insanely attractive, or somebody who's always loved, someone who's always catered to, someone who knows their worth and value. That's it. That's in game. It's game over. You can literally say, it's so easy for me to love myself. Of course it's easy for me to love myself. I've always loved myself because I know that I'm inherently lovable. There's nothing I could do, nothing I could say, no way that I could present myself or act or speak that could make me any less lovable, because I just am inherently. It stays with me, will be with me forever, because I am pure love. So your inner conversations and your inner speech are literally the most important thing about anything. You have to change the way that you speak to yourself in order for other people to change the way they speak to you. Because if you're gonna tell me, oh yeah, well, I've tried affirmations and still, like, it doesn't work, still what I see in the mirror, oh, still this person said, still I see this person on social media and I don't look like them, I can't be like them because I came from this place, or because this is like this or that. Excuses. I hear a lot of excuses, and your excuses are not gonna get you anywhere. What's gonna get you somewhere is making a decision and sticking to it, and no matter what, you just continue to return. It's a gentle reminder. It's not a like, okay, I'm gonna force myself to love myself, or I'm gonna show off and like pretend to be so confident so everybody else can like affirm to me that I am this person. It's like, no, I'm just gonna continue to remind myself that this is the truth, that there's no reason that this couldn't be the truth, because I'm the one who gets to decide, and I decide yes. I decide the time is now. I decide that I'm worthy. I decide that this is okay for me to do. This is an okay way for me to be. And it's okay for me to love myself just because I said. And because, of course, that's just the way it is. It just is who I am. Like, why wouldn't I? Literally, why wouldn't I? When were you gonna tell me about this? How rude. Okay. So yes, as cliche as it sounds, confidence starts inside. It does. Because if you're ugly on the inside, no matter how you look on the outside, what other people see is not gonna be pretty. It's like, I know that you felt the energy of somebody who looks attractive, or like you're complimenting somebody because you're like, oh my God, like you look really nice, or where'd you get that? Or how'd you do that? Like, what do you use? and you can just see them shrinking within themselves and being like, oh, please don't look at me, please don't perceive me, like this is too, like don't give me any attention because I don't feel like that's true, and I don't want you to look at me long enough to realize that. And it's like it's a palpable thing of like seeing somebody and being like, even without their explicit words, I can tell this person doesn't love themselves. And it's not a nice feeling for that person. It's not a nice feeling for you. And it's not something that has to continue to be true. It's not something that you have to perpetuate. You can make a decision and a choice to love yourself. It is a choice to be unconditionally loving to yourself, to the people around you, to have a level of understanding that even though somebody else may perceive me in their own way, that's their opinion, and it doesn't matter because I know what's true about me, and nothing outside of me is going to tell me anything different. And the more that you remain faithful to that story, the more that you will see evidence of that being true in your reality. You will see evidence of people telling you that you're beautiful, telling you that you have such great energy, telling you that you have a calming presence, or that like you're ethereal. Like literally, it's not a big thing and it's not a big deal. It doesn't have to be unless you make it into one. Oh, I just realized that I lost my ring. So I'm done. Look complete. Actually, very nice, very good, very nice. Okay, so this was just like extremely simple, everyday makeup look. This is usually, when you see me filming, this is usually what I got on. And yeah, I mean, I don't make a fuss of my makeup the way that I used to, because like I said, it used to literally be my armor. Could not leave the house without being caked up. But now it's just kind of a thing where like, I just want to get it over with. I just want to get it done. And it used to be like my passion. It was like my me time, like made me feel safe. It made me feel like I was ready and presentable, which is also a fine thing. It's also fine for makeup to give you an extra boost, for it to give you confidence. And it's okay no matter how much or how little you wear. But it also should never be a thing of like, I have to have this or else I'm not me, or I have to have this or else anything, or else anything. It just is a part of you if you want it to be, and not if you don't want it to be. And you are still just as lovable, just as valuable, just as beautiful, exactly the way you are, natural, or all done up, or somewhere in between. You're gorgeous. I want you to know that you're so beautiful. And I wanted to have this chat with you and just get raw and just have a conversation about this, because like I said, I've talked a little bit about it and how I've done like mirror work and just saying affirmations to myself in the mirror. And it's just crazy for me to look back at myself saying these affirmations to myself in the mirror and feeling like it was a lie, and now literally doing it on autopilot just because it's just what I do. I see myself in the mirror and I'm like, you know, like it's just like, it's a thing. And that's also okay. This is another thing. Don't let somebody tell you that you're too cocky, or that you're too confident, or that it's ugly to be vain. Listen, there's a difference between being full of yourself and being confident. It's okay to know that you're pretty. It's okay to know that you're beautiful. And it's okay to not be shy about that. You don't have to humble yourself for anybody. Like, if you being confident makes somebody else feel a certain type of way, that is that person's problem and not yours. It's about your reaction and your response, what that elicits in you when somebody else tells you, oh, you're too much, or you're doing too much, or that's extra. Why do you have so much jewelry on? Why do you have so much makeup on? Why'd you do your hair like that? Why do you think you can do this and that? Why'd you post that picture? Because I wanted to, because I can do what I want, because I can be who I want. If anybody has a problem with that, that's their problem. Don't let that dim your sparkle. Please understand that it is so okay to know who you are and to be confident in that, and to tell yourself that, and to tell other people that if you want to, or just to make it known, just to make it known through your energy. Because there are some people who are the same way people are attracted to that energy, that the energy of loving yourself and being secure within yourself is attractive. Some people are repelled by that energy because it's not something that they recognize within themselves. They don't identify with that within themselves. So it feels like an attack almost. Why does this person think that they can have this when I can't? It's like, no, it's not that I think I can have this, it's because I know I can have this and I know that I am this. So if you don't know that within yourself, if this doesn't feel like a puzzle piece that fits into you, if this is not in your identity or your self-concept, that's not my problem. I don't have to change myself to make you comfortable. I don't have to make myself small to make you comfortable. It's okay to be big. It's okay to take up space. I just wanted to get that out also, because that irks me also, along with the social media thing. It's like somebody will be like small and like up and coming and people will be hyping them up like, you go girl, you do this and that, you slay queen. And the second that they start to feel like good about themselves and they start to express that in a different way, the same people who thought that they were on the same level or on the same wavelength and the same mentality as that person and sees them go beyond will feel uncomfortable because of that. Because internally what's happening is that person recognizes that potential within themselves, but is too scared to give it to themselves. And so if they can't see themselves giving it to themselves, they don't understand why other people are allowed to have it. It's like, you're allowed to have it when you say you're allowed to have it. You're allowed to be it when you say you're allowed to be it. And that is the level of conviction that brings about confidence. That's the energy that brings about beauty, that brings about grace, that brings about Miss United States, okay? You just have to know that it's true because you said it's true and literally no other reason. No other conditions, not because you met a certain level of criteria, not because you meet the stats, not because you meet the requirements of somebody else's checklist. Are you good with you? Do you like you? Do you love you unconditionally? Then it doesn't matter. You're beautiful in all your states, in all your forms, and you get to be the highest version of yourself just because you say you do. You get to feel beautiful and loved and valued just because you say you do. And that gets to continue to be your experience just because you say it is. A gentle returning, because I know initially it can feel like an insurmountable task. It can feel like something that is so scary to do just because you've never allowed yourself to do it before. But that's why you have to continue to return, to continue to remind yourself. And eventually you'll start to see little inklings and start to see little signs that within yourself that, okay, well, this might be true. Or it's okay, I actually do look really nice today. Or okay, that actually is a really nice picture of me. Somebody complimented me and that was okay because, you know, I did spend time on this outfit or doing my makeup and I deserved that compliment, and it's okay for me to accept it and not to push it back. And also, this is another thing that I forgot to talk about with the envy and with the social media. It's like you see somebody having something you want and then you reprimand them for it, or you make them feel small for it, or you make them feel like it's not okay for them to have it because you think that you can't have it. Instead of looking at that as a reflection to you to show you, wow, that's actually a desire within me. I'm not going to be mad at that person for having it. I'm going to thank that person for showing me that that's an available experience. And then I'm going to give that to myself because I liked it on them. I bet I'd love it on me. Do you know what I mean? Like the emotions of envy and jealousy, number one thing that's going to make you look like Shrek. Okay. Like just being so fucking for real. It's an ugly emotion to carry around. Like you can have things and you can do things and you can be things and still be in that state, but like, why? It's not fun. It's not fun for you and it's not fun for other people. And it's just plain rude and it's mean and it's ugly. So that's the number one thing. Love yourself unconditionally and spread that to other people. Extend that to other people because everyone is a reflection of you. Everyone is you pushed out and they literally are you because we're all one, because we're all connected through source. Okay? So love on yourself more, love each other more. Let's be more gentle with ourselves. Let's be more accepting of ourselves and let's start telling ourselves that we can have whatever the fuck we want just because we say. Just because we say we can. And that's enough. Period. That is enough. Besides, like, beyond the affirmations, beyond the techniques, beyond the imaginal acts, like, all that is good and well and fun and works. But number one thing is recognition of self. Number one self-concept is I am that. Period. That's all it has ever taken and all it ever will take. And everything else is just cherries on top, sprinkles on top, whipped cream. All right, you guys, that's gonna do it for me today. I really hope you all enjoyed and got something of value from this video. Please be sure to leave your questions, comments, concerns in the comment box below, and check out the description for my social media links, my services, and also a little gift for you in the description box. You can use code MOREBEING20 to get 20% off your first purchase with Ana Luisa. Thank you so much again to them for partnering with me on this video. All that good stuff is down below. And other than that, I love you all so much. Thank you for being here, and I will see you next time.